Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another exciting build out here at the shop, TB Nation Northeast in Beltsville, Maryland. We got a Starcraft 14-foot V-bottom boat. This is a special one. The owner of the boat is actually building this boat out for his son. So we definitely want to make this one a special one. As you can see, we got a bare hull here. He just picked up this boat. I don't believe he fished it yet. It has a solid base and foundation to build off of, so we really like that. We don't have to build this out exactly from scratch. We're going to be removing stuff out, stripping it down, and building a whole new setup to include hatches, new trolling motor, a full electrical makeover, going to be turfed, fully decked out. This is going to be a pretty unique build out. Let's get right into it. It's going to be a good one. Now, before we get started with the actual build out, we need to remove a couple things like the two catwalks on each side of the boat. We're not getting rid of them. Those will be reused in the project. The bench seats did have to go. We sometimes try to keep them in the boat and build off of them, but in this case it was just best to remove them totally because there wasn't much structure around them to build off of. In order to reuse the two top panels, we needed to remove the old carpet off of it, and this is, trust me guys, a process we love to hate. It gets pretty messy. Anytime you remove old carpet, there's a lot of adhesive you then have to get off the aluminum, and it's a pretty messy job, but with some xylene and a good wire brush, it gets the job done. Just requires some patience, but in the end the adhesive comes off really well. Now, in order to eventually turf the floor of the boat, we needed to remove all the rivets that were installed. We did this because the floor was being held down by dome rivets, and in order to turf you need a completely flat surface, and to accomplish that you want all your rivets to be recessed with flat countersinked rivets. If I had to guess, I'd say there were probably about 50 to 75 rivets we had to remove and replace. At this point, we knew we had to repair the front deck area. A lot of what was holding this together was marine silicone, so we had to take our time and get all that removed and then address everything else. Here we go. We finally got this front deck area off. Got it stuck right back there. And yeah, it was a pain. A little part of it was welded. The reason we did this was a huge gap over here. Huge gap. So I don't know if we'll be able to re-weld it back on here with the way it is, but I'm going to get this all cleaned up and assess whether we can put that deck back on to build the extension off of. But you can see where they use some kind of sealant, some kind of adhesive maybe, to fill in where the weld had broken. There was no welds holding this side at all, and had a couple spots here, here, and here. 3 spots that had some little small welding left on it, but over time looks like most of it broke off. And of course we have our conventional leaves and all kind of things that just accumulated back here over the years through a little space that was up front. And we've got our little overflow of porofoam here, little alien looking ball coming out. Looks like when they porofoamed under this floor, the rest that could relieve itself came up right here, which is not bad. It provides some flotation, additional foam in this cavity that we just opened up. So I'm going to go ahead and vacuum this all up, get it all cleaned up nicely. That took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but we needed to at least be able to assess what we'll do next, because we want this to be rock solid when we're done with it, whether we use the old one and weld it back in, or we just go ahead and reframe this whole thing from scratch and build it out. This deck extension will go from right here all the way back to where these sidewalls begin. Now, we did decide to go ahead and reuse the original front deck. It was in good enough condition to just reuse it, but to do so we had to clean everything up, get all the original welds down, and get all the contaminants off of the aluminum. And that goes for both the hull of the boat and the actual deck piece. Once we knew we had a good fit, we tacked it in just to hold it in place so we could start our framing. So starting from the rear of the boat, using 2x1 tube, we started welding in the hatch as well as the seat mount, building right off of the existing sidewall. We buck riveted the side rails in for the framing because we knew that that part of the boat could potentially be at the waterline or below. Buck rivets are the best way to go, keeping everything watertight. With the majority of the framing done, we can now do final welding, which we did here, TIG welding the front deck in. Now with framing everything out on this boat with 1/16 inch aluminum tube, you do want to install uprights for two reasons. 1/16 is a thin gauge, so it's best to install uprights in strategic places to support body weight. And the second reason is to use these uprights to attach to sidewalls. One of the biggest upgrades we did to this boat probably was installing a bow plate up front. To make this super solid, we combined two thicknesses, 1/8 for the main sheet, which is the larger piece that you're seeing right here, cutting it to size, and then backing it with a 1/4 inch thick sheet welded right underneath. Check it out. Now onto electrical. For any electrical panel installations that we do, we'll either frame it out from scratch, or in this case where we can actually integrate it right into the existing sidewall of the boat. As with all panels, we'll make sure that it fits snug but leaves a little bit room. That way the owner of the boat, if you need to remove it, you can easily do so and just get it right back in without any problems. In this case, we needed to gut out the foam. That way we can not only have space for the panel, but also to create a void for the conduit so that we can run all of our wiring. Once we have the conduit finalized, before actually installing it, we will seal it with a PVC cement that's made specifically for the tubing we're using. Once that's done, we'll add gap filler and then do our porofoam mix and fill the void that we've created with actual porofoam. So in the end, we're replacing what we removed, and in most cases, adding back more than what was originally there. Now, in order to install the bilge pump like how we did here underneath the floor, we installed a custom bracket to make it happen. In this case, we had to take some really careful measurements to get it right so that it would not only be a solid fit underneath the floor, but also make it through the round access that's already built into the floor. We did all this using 063 aluminum sheet. Shot of the rivet washers. I have rivet washers here, here, and here. Makes it really solid. For the pump out, we took a similar approach. Using 063, fabricated a pump out bracket, and what's cool about this bracket is you don't have to drill through the hull of your boat to create a way for the water to be pumped out. Of course, that's still an option to do it that way, but for this boat, the best way was to install a bracket that would actually pump the water out over the back transom. Now, you might recognize these because these are on the website, tbnation.net, so check them out and use our code BBF5, get 5% off. Now, before we could truly dive into the electrical side of this build out, we needed to finish installing some of the side panels and secure them down with countersink rivets, and they're countersunk because these walls will ultimately be, at least some of them will be turfed. Ones that are not turfed, we'll just simply drop dome rivets in there. We'll show you the electrical stuff as we go because we did have to do it in phases as we completed different sections of the build out. One of the things we did around this time was to add these really cool low profile nav lights up front. For this build out, we included inside the rear hatch a lot of the main electronics for the build out, like the house/starter battery, an onboard charger. You've got your 30 amp breaker that manages the whole system, an LED light, as well as the fuse block bus bar combo for all of the accessories. Now, before starting the turfing process, we intentionally prepped the surface by sanding the aluminum, and in this case down to the bare aluminum, to ensure maximum stick. The first pieces we typically install are inside the hatches, and in this case, because the access underneath the framing was pretty tight, we went with measuring and cutting out templates and fitting them in, and then moved on to the cockpit floor, which was a much larger piece. For the turf, the owner of the boat went with cobblestone, and this is the camo cut groove pattern. It is about 6 a.m. on a Sunday, but wanted to check in. Sorry, I just had a slow crank up. I'm very tired. Pretty much working almost 7 days a week this week. But yeah, we're getting it in very early. Haven't vlogged anything on this boat yet, and we've done the majority of the work. I would say we're about 80% done. And decided to pop in the shop early today and turf these sidewalls before my electrician comes in, and that's to wire up a lot of the stuff on the boat. So we're working as a team. You know, certain things are contingent on the other to get it done at least efficiently. So we could have worked around it, but best case scenario is to get the turf in. I've got some edge trim to put in as well, and the edge trim is where the LED lights for the cockpit will be installed into. Best case scenario is to turf it, get the edge trim in because they need to butt up together, and I won't rivet the trim in until after the LEDs and everything's all run. That's why I'm in here. Super tired, guys, but it is what it is, man. We running things and want to keep it moving. So plan right now is camo turf, the back wall and the front, and we're going to do accent sidewalls with solid black matte hydro turf. Let's get it in, guys. Got my caffeine right here. Whew, let's go. Now, for us to turf the top decking, we needed to cut it out, and to do that we went with using templates. So templates ensure that the end result is tight, so your decking butts up to the walls nicely. We use a combination of construction paper and clear plastic Duralar to do this. And once the templates are done, went ahead and cut them out with a circular saw. Circular saw is a great way to go about doing it. It's quick. You just have to get used to it. It's not something that you can just grab and then start cutting your sheet. It can slip really easily and cut out your aluminum in places you don't want it to. But if you know what you're doing, you'll be golden. From there, rivets, countersink, 3/16 rivets, tons of them. Put them in as many places as you need to ensure that that deck has no gaps, voids that create any kind of clacking on your deck when you're on it. Decking and hatches are in, so now let's get back to turfing. At our shop, we do take time to trim around each hatch opening to ensure a clean professional finish. So after we do the initial stick, we'll trim a 16th to an 1/8 around each hatch lid, and we'll also take time to recess each latch so that in the end the latch is level with the turf. Now, something we couldn't ignore, and quite frankly, very hard to ignore, were all the holes in the transom. There are a ton of holes, all different sizes, some up to 1/2 inch, probably even 3/4 inch. To fix it, we knew we needed to weld it, and that's exactly what we did, but we had to prep the surface really well, especially on a transom that's old and has a lot of dirt inside the old holes, or maybe even some silicone or whatever. All that stuff needs to be cleaned out, even if it means drilling out the hole a little bit wider to make sure that the inside of the hole is clean. From there, welded it, sanded, and where we needed to, we added more welds. So some of these holes took up to 3 applications of welding just to make sure we had enough material in the hole to not only close it, but make sure it's very strong, or as strong as possible. The 2 top holes at the very top of the transom definitely are the 2 biggest holes that I have personally welded in any boat. And for a second, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to pull it off, but again, with patience, and part of that patience is letting the aluminum cool. All right, you can't just go ham on a welder. You'll blow right through it. It is aluminum, very soft. So just exercise some patience and let it cool when needed, and add a second application. After that was done, sand, paint turned out really well. And by the way, we did paint the inner walls of the boat inside the hatches as well. So, you know, a lot of the interior just needed a fresh coat of paint. In a lot of cases, when we do turfing in a boat, we go ahead and paint at least the inside sidewalls. If you leave them undone, the old paint on your walls with the scratches and scuff marks and dirt and chip marks will show a lot more when you freshly turf your boat. So we took care of that. And lo and behold, the owner of the boat decided he wanted the outside of the boat exterior painted as well. We had to strip off all the decals, make sure that everything is off, sanded everything front to back, and cleaned it, and then started to apply a spray coat on it. Now, this is a quick and dirty paint job. The owner doesn't intend to get a whole new paint job done, but we were able to get a fresh coat of paint on there so that on delivery, everything looks brand new. And while we're at it, we did paint the lids as well with a textured paint. So in the end, the finish is pretty similar to a powder coat, but it's not. This is something that you can actually do on a DIY level. I will tell people though, if you're going to spray can any aluminum or anything, really practice it, because you will have runs or orange peel. There is some trial and error if you don't know what you're doing, and that's to get a professional finish. Anyone can grab a paint can and press down on that button and paint will come out, and yes, it will cover the surface. But if the results really matter to you, you want to get some practice in before you hit the actual thing you're going to paint for good. Lastly, we painted all the edge trim. For this, we went with a Rust-Oleum gloss black paint. We primed it first. As you can see, the results look really good. Love how these came out, and that's because of the technique of spraying as well as the actual paint we use. Stay tuned for the reveal video, which we'll post next. In this video, we'll show you in detail the final result of this V Hull build out here at TB Nation Northeast. Let us know what your boat build or rigging needs are. We'll be happy to take care of you. Peace.